You know that movie title, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or something like that? That's what it feels like the current news cycle is, which is why on a weekend day like this, we're about to go through a bazillion things that I haven't yet gotten to that I want you to know about, but it's going to be a little bit unconventional. I've been struggling to find, okay, this topic we're talking about in this segment, so let's plug it in, because there's just a bunch of random stuff. So if you like this format, I'll be curious to hear, but in this segment, we're literally just going to go through a bunch of stuff, because it's all happening, and there's too much to fit coherently into individual segments. Here we go. I do encourage you to stick around for it, even though it's not just one topic. Yes, I did see this clip. We'll start with the least important thing that we'll get to, which is Trump getting, what do you call this? Thumped by a microphone.
Mr. President, obviously you're concerned. You're concerned about the situation in Gaza. What are the hopes now to get the hostages back?
She just became a big story tonight, right? Yes, sir. Did you see that?
She rubbed my makeup off. So unfair, treasonous. I did see this photo that someone posted that was circulating of Hillary Clinton. It was Hillary, crooked Hillary, with the microphone. Yeah, so listen. Somebody said, I saw an account say, Trump, that reminded Trump of Putin. I don't know what they meant by that, though. I'm really confused. So maybe you can. Jaden seems to get it. He's laughing. I don't know what that could reference. All right, next thing. CNN reports Congress averts government shutdown after Senate passes stopgap funding bill after Schumer rallied some Democrats to not really fight any further the extension of funding here. The government will not be shutting down. We talked about that, so I wanted to update you on it. Elon Musk reposted this. Stalin, Mao, and Hitler didn't murder millions of people. Their public sector workers did. Yes. The guy who did not Sieg Heil is saying it wasn't really Hitler who did the killing. It was public sector. It was the bureaucracy. And yeah, that's not a joke. He reposted that. Then Nicholas Kristof posted, Elon Musk says that no one has died because he slashed humanitarian aid. He said that. He posted it. I went to South Sudan to check if that's true. It's not. Within an hour of starting interviews, I had the names of a 10-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl who had died because of decisions by wealthy men in Washington. Decisions that are supposedly to save the tax dollars, the taxpayers' money, and to address the debt problem while they're exacerbating the debt problem by pushing through these tax cuts for the rich. Then Kellyanne Conway. You're not even going to... Yes, she's the alternative facts lady. And now she's going harder than ever on the alternative facts.
Reg, go down. Consumer confidence going up. Everything is turning up Trump. And now, Reg...
She says consumer confidence, consumer sentiment is going up. She said that while literally... the same day, this was the report. Consumer sentiment tanks, not tank up, tank down, as Americans expect more pain ahead. If this is surging to you, I don't know. Associated Press, the U.S. Agriculture Department's ending 2 pandemic-era programs that provided more than $1 billion for schools and food banks to purchase food from local farms and producers. About $660 million of that went to schools and child care centers to buy food for meals through the local Food for Schools program. A separate program provided money to food banks. They keep telling us, no, we're not. When we do all these funding increases, we're not cutting off funds to people who need it. And then they keep cutting off funds to people who need it. We cannot believe their word, obviously, any longer if we ever did. Tucker Carlson's descent into madness is getting worse and worse. He said this about the females.
Female leaders are not what I thought they were. When I was a kid in the 70s, you used to hear feminists say, give a woman a chance, it'll be a more peaceful world. Which, not a crazy idea. I mean, all the women in my life are peaceful and loving. Right. And so I kind of thought that's probably true, actually.
Yeah.
Men fight wars and all that. Women don't. But then we wind up with all these female leaders who are the most warlike and bloodthirsty and just can't wait to murder people. They just can't wait. You can see it there. That girl from Estonia. I mean,
yeah, she
would kill people without even flinching.
That girl from Estonia. Hey, Tucker, you know what I've noticed? A lot of the biggest podcasters right now do the lowest effort, lowest care, lowest thought level content that seems to be their personal opportunity to, for however long the podcast is, just sort of sniff their own flatulence, their toxic flatulence. They just want to smell it. And so you have this weird spitballing that goes on. You know, females, they said, and this is true, they said that a female leader could not ever kill anybody. And now I've come to believe that a female leader could. And actually, now that I think of it, female leaders are only murderous. I've learned females are I've learned females are demented, twisted, sick people. It's like, what is happening? What are you talking about, Tucker? So strange. You have Lisa McClain trying to defend Trump's tariffs, and her whole vibe gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Her district is right outside of Detroit, one of the hubs of automaking in our country. Ford's CEO has lamented what he described as a lot of cost and a lot of chaos from the Trump administration on auto tariffs. There was some back and forth, there were some delays. Now they're set to kick into place in April. What do you tell constituents when you hear automakers say that the cost of certain vehicles is going to skyrocket? It's going to jump upwards of $12,000 because of these tariffs.
I don't know if you can hear it depending on how you're listening to this, but throughout this whole interview, Lisa, I guess to come off as authentic, you know, politicians struggle with that often. She does this, thing to sort of, again, I think it's performative authenticity. Yeah, I care about this for sure, but it doesn't come off right.
$12,000 because of these tariffs.
Yeah. I tell them to relax. Don't listen to the fear-mongering, because the Democrats right now have no vision, they have no plan,
automakers,
and they have no,
from
if
folks
you don't
like
mind,
the
I had
CEO.
enough respect to let you talk. So would you like me to answer the question, or do you want
I just want to clarify. You're describing it as fear-mongering. What I cited was a Ford CEO. Automakers are the ones saying that these costs are going to jump.
Okay, so I'll continue.
Yeah. Okay. See, if I talk like this, surely you can't think I'm lying. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Boris. I would say that it's all fake. It's fake news, and okay.
Continue with my answer. When the Democrats have no mission, no message, no vision, and no leader, all they have is fear-mongering, right? That's what they do, and they talk to the CEOs and they plant these fears in them. No different than when we had to give a bunch of subsidies to EV mandates. You didn't cover that. Yet the cost of the vehicles went up dramatically, yet we had to subsidize those. So the people in my district who I've actually spoken to, as well as the CEOs, they understand that tariffs are a negotiation tool. They are hopeful that
until Trump actually continues them. And then it's genius economics, right, Lisa? Right, Lisa? You're not going to say that it's incoherent, harmful economics for Trump to pursue those, because he said it's not just negotiating. He said it's smart economics. That's how you manage the U.S. economy. That's how we're going to make U.S. industry stronger, is wildly irresponsible and aggressive tariffs. Here's more from her.
So the next big legislative item is the big, beautiful bill that President Trump says he wants passed. It touches on taxes.
Can y'all hear that? Is that just the whole time she's going, yeah. What What do you just stop? Wait, what?
Legislative item is the big, beautiful bill that President Trump says he wants passed. It touches on taxes, immigration, energy, and defense. It would also cut spending while not cutting Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. Can you guarantee the folks who depend on those entitlements that they will not see a reduction in their benefits?
Yeah. What I can guarantee is that we are going to work tirelessly to make sure that the people that need those benefits most.
And we covered that clip already, but that's her dodging the question on Medicaid. Then we get to Nancy Mace, who says, I don't know what this is. So she has this big obsession. No one's really paying attention to it, but, I'm going to go to war because, Sarah McBride, the trans congresswoman, she's not going to come into the bathroom. And Sarah keeps saying, I'm not going to. It's over. The conversation's over. She's not coming into the women's bathroom. Great. She already said that she's not going to. This is such a weird obsession of yours. But she said, just going to leave this right here. Hold the line. And then the quote on screen is, real men protect women. Quoting Nancy Mace. Yeah, I'm sure she's the first one to have said that. And then for some reason that I genuinely struggle to understand, maybe I'm missing something, she's holding handcuffs. Why is she holding handcuffs? What is going on? I know I've now said that so many times, but that's the thesis of this segment. What the hell is going on? For a little bit of pushback, Tim Walz is out there doing some events, speaking out, and he had this to say.
And again, I got to be honest with you. They hate public education. I think they hate it for the reason we all know in here. It's easier to run an authoritarian government if you don't have a population that knows. So again,
I totally agree with what he's saying. It is a really interesting juxtaposition. The casual, everyman uncle sort of delivery that he has with stuff whenever it's talking about the word. Listen, come on. We all know you put together a car, you got to use the right parts, but they don't want us to have the right parts because they're going to destroy you and arrest all of their political opponents. The delivery is very Tim Walz for a subject that is very grave, but correct message here.
obviously I don't have all the answers, but I think it's appealing to people's sense of decency. Again, I should be careful about that. I thought a message that we should value all people and we should have an immigration policy that adheres to the law but adheres to humanity. And they talked about eating dogs and cats and they won. And so I myself am soul searching when I hear this. How in God's name, of all the money that's being spent and all the tax cuts they're giving, we can't fund those interventions that we know make a difference in millions of children's lives? I can't believe America wouldn't go for that.
If the Democratic Party can get their you-know-what together, there is the opportunity for a serious electoral win. Because the benefit Trump benefited from in this election being the outside party, the out-of-power party. Because the underlying problems that were long-standing and then exacerbated by the pandemic, that people have justifiable rage over, it's much easier to direct that and those feelings at the party in power, the incumbent president. And there was also obviously a lot of chaos in who was going to be the nominee and all that. And so it caused people to, yes, side with the guy that was screaming about cats and dogs being eaten wrongfully for some reasons that we can't speak to because they're hate-based, but some reasons that are just economic. And now people will see, I hate it, they're going to have to, but now people are going to see what it is that they voted for, and they're going to feel the longstanding problems are going to be there, but those are going to be exacerbated by a wildly incompetent economic approach. And so if you can combine the fears of authoritarianism that are real, we're getting into that even more today in other segments, and the attacks on basic democratic principles with the part of the electorate that just to be frank with you, this is sad, but just doesn't really listen to those fears until it's too late. But do listen to the economic ramifications of someone like Trump's policies. And when people see those ramifications and they see in their life what the gutting of these programs mean, they're going to be fed up. So that just puts a responsibility on our shoulders like never before to make sure that people's anger about that is correctly attributed, and then that the alternative is strong. And so we're seeing Bernie Sanders out there holding rallies. Now Tim Walz is holding events. And in the build up to the midterms and then the 2028 election, it is going to be so important that the right leaders show up in the right moment. And I can't tell you exactly who that is at present, but it is so crucial, who can not just point to the problems, but who actually have a compelling message about the solutions. Then I credit Tim Walz here. He said he owns this partially because Democrats lost.
But this issue around healthcare and the issue around Medicare and the things we're talking about, we've got people now that are exactly like this story, worried about basic human right of healthcare and decency in their life. And I own this. The idea that millions of people stayed home because they didn't think there was any difference between Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, and myself on the ticket, they didn't think that. And we need to acknowledge that. I think one of the reasons is that when Democrats have been in power, we've been timid about passing things that make a difference on their lives.
Yes, 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 yes. But again, that's a great diagnosis of part of the problem. But now we need good solutions. Walz, one of the reasons that it was exciting when he became the vice presidential running mate was he shown in Minnesota what is possible even with a really narrow majority, and had a really successful time as governor. He's still governor. And we need, and this is not an we cannot make another mistake. We have to hear from the future Democratic leaders, those who are going to be opposing the Republican Party in elections to come, an aggressive, not just they're bad, that's so important, but an aggressive policy agenda that says, if you do give us power, you saw how aggressive Trump was. We're not going to break laws like he does, but you see how aggressive he's been on the bad things. We're going to be 10 times as aggressive within the confines of our democratic values to do the things to fix what he broke and more, and to make your life better. And we can't have a timid, we'll make some changes around the edges. We need an agenda that excites people, that it could be consequential, especially when we're not going to be just starting from zero. We're going to be starting from way behind the starting line because of the actions of Trump throughout these years. Marco Rubio, listen to him. All of his integrity slipping out of him rapidly, and he acts like it's reasonable that Trump wants to take over Canada.
Do you understand why the Canadians are taking such umbrage at these comments coming from the president? Is that something?
The Canadian government has made their position, how they feel about it, clear. The president has made his argument as to why he thinks Canada would be better off joining the United States for economic purposes. There's a disagreement between the president's position and the position of the Canadian government. I don't think that's a mystery coming in, and it wasn't a topic of conversation because that's not what the summit was about.
Is there anything these guys won't defend? Mr. Secretary of State, Trump has now proposed getting every single golden retriever puppy in the entire country and throwing them into an inferno. What is your thought on that? Well, listen, the golden retriever lobby has made their stance on this clear, and the president, God bless him, has also articulated his stance on as to the aforementioned puppy proposal. So I think at some point the American people did deliver President Trump a mandate, and that should be considered as it pertains to the, and so and also that's good. Liz Elkind said Scoop, Trump, and OMB director Russ Vought are already crafting a plan to impound some of the funding in the coming CR, further spending cuts, This was a part of the pitch to conservatives when the CR passed the House. Those are your updates under 20 minutes.